All right. Welcome, everybody, to Speaking of Zane, May the 4th, 2025, the 316th edition since we started this thing. 316 since, I guess, when did we start this? In 2018, so pre-COVID. And still going strong, although we've missed a couple of weeks due to travel and all kind of shenanigans, but it's good to be back in the saddle again. Let's see, do a quick roll call here. Looks like Lori's in there, Steve Shirley's in there, Jimbo Miller's in there, Randy's in there, Daryl, Carl and Peggy, Brenda Lusk. Good to have everybody in there this evening. Missed a couple weeks because we were on the road. We took an entire week off and had a really good time. The primary purpose was to go to the 10th Acts reunion, which we did in Dayton, Ohio. And what a fantastic trip. Great to see everyone, and great job by Randy and Kathy Bergmeyer in doing all the coordinating and all the hard work and heavy lifting, and it turned out really well. So it was great to see everybody, including many who join us regularly here on Speaking of Zane. Mentioned Randy, Steve and Kathy, got to see Amy and Barb, and then there were in attendance, there were 3 other 513th AMS members, myself and 3 others. We were not members of the 10th Acts. We were members of the 513th Avionics Maintenance Squadron. We just happened to be crew members alongside the folks in the 10th Acts. The 10th Acts was the front end crew, pilot, co-pilot, nav, boom operators. They were in the 10th Acts. And then all of the communicators were in the 10th Acts. And then the battle staff was belonged to an organization called Silk Purse. And we had a couple of Silk Purse members represented there, including Pete Rourke, who was in the Navy, and Pete and his wife were there, Terry, and they live up in, where they live, Lori, Dahlonega, or not Dahlonega, somewhere Ellijay. They live in Ellijay. They took their travel trailer up, but it was good to see him. It was good to see everybody. The other 513th AMS guys was Mike McCormick, Mark Pasavichus, and Jerry Trimmer. And it was good to see them again. Lori was the lone representative of the 513th FMS Field Maintenance Squadron, and was acknowledged as such. But it was a really good time. We got there Thursday late afternoon. Was able to connect with Kathy and Randy and Mike McCormick and some others that were already there. And then the festivities began on Friday, and then other people started to show up. Mark and Jerry, Amy and Barb, and then all the rest. I don't know, Randy, did you get a final count? Looked like maybe there was, let's see, each table, it was about 10. There was easily, what, 60 people, 60, maybe more. But representing all the various crew positions on our aircraft. It was really good. But on the way there, I mentioned I was telling you about the itinerary. So Friday we had a lunch. Was it a lunch gathering? We had a lunch gathering on Friday, I think it was, and then there was some bourbon and cigars by the fire pit that evening. Friday after lunch was we went to the National Museum of the United States Air Force there in Dayton, Ohio. It was my third visit there. Still haven't seen everything, but we Randy and Kathy coordinated a proper tour, um, um, facilitated by one of the docents there. Yeah, Lori's right. We did the lunch and then went to the museum. I think that was right. Yeah, then went to the museum, and the weather was good, except when we were in the museum, it rained like the dickens. But we had a good time at the museum, always do. And then some of the others even went back to the museum on Saturday during the day. I know Steve and Kathy did. But and then on Saturday night, we had a really nice dinner. There, everybody gathered for the dinner at the conference center, and it was good. Nice cake that somebody, I forget who made the cake, but the cake was really nice. You can see all the pictures on the Speaking of Zane. I think I put them on the Speaking of Zane Facebook page or on mine. I can't remember. But I posted all the pictures I took. I didn't take nearly as many pictures at the museum as I have in the past, but it was, I was more in the moment this time. But I did take a few, and I posted some pictures from other parts of the reunion. So, and then more cigars on the Saturday evening, and then people began departing on the Sunday. Lori and I drove back. Yes, it took us about just over 7 hours, 7.5 hours. We had a nice little Buc-ee's stop in Kentucky where we refueled, and wasn't too bad of a trip. The weather was nice. The drive back was nice, and going through Kentucky is beautiful. More about that in a minute. But we ended up getting home Sunday. We got home before 6 p.m., something like that. So not too bad. Just in time to do the laundry and everything and get ready for work. But on the way to Ohio, Lori and I stopped in Kentucky. Yeah, I didn't realize how beautiful Kentucky is. Been through there maybe a few times, but never spent any time there really. And it was just beautiful. The weather was great. The week we were there, we were in Kentucky we got there Monday evening. We're there all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, and half the day Thursday. But we had a really good time. Lori indulged me in accompanying me to a variety of bourbon distillery tours. Just fascinated with the history, that history, science behind it, and why is that the mecca for bourbon, and got to go through the distilleries and see the process from start to finish, and it was really fun. We did 5 distillery tours in the 3 days that we were there. One on one day, and then 2 on each of the next couple of days. The last one that we did on Thursday, before driving 2.5 hours up to Dayton, was a distillery called Buffalo Trace, and it's in Frankfort, Kentucky, and it's on the river. And they were just the victims of a flood. They've had floods over the decades, but they had a really bad one just a few weeks ago, and You could tell they were still cleaning up. The waters had receded, but they were still cleaning at the distillery, and they had a limited access, not the typical tour. You couldn't go on a typical tour, but you were able to walk through the campus to get to the visitor center, gift shop area, and they had employees in there doing the tastings and different things, and so it was definitely worth it. It was complimentary. You just had to register online. All the other tours cost. I don't remember how much they were. They're not that expensive to go on these tours and have these tastings. It's really quite good value, and everyone we went to gave a veterans discount. So Lori and I both got discounts on an already reasonable price. So it was good, really good value. Let me list the distillers we did in case anybody's wondering. We did Maker's Mark, which was our first one and probably the most scenic. I think Lori would agree. Maker's Mark was probably the most scenic, followed by Woodford Reserve. It was really nice too. Four Roses was very unique because it had that, what do you call that style, Lori? That Spanish, Lori knows the name of it, but we did Makers, we did and at the Maker's Mark, I got to dip, you know how it has the wax, I got to dip my own, which is really cool there in the gift shop. So we did Maker's Mark, we did Four Roses, we did Woodford Reserve. I did Wild Turkey. Lori didn't do the Wild Turkey when they only had one opening in the morning slot. It was a 9 o'clock in the morning slot to take a bourbon distillery tour. But I found the Wild Turkey tour very fascinating as well. A lot of behind the scenes stuff. And then the very last one was the Buffalo Trace. And we were fortunate to be able to get there. And then one of the guys that's in my current academy cohort at work, him and his wife happened to be passing through on the way somewhere, Ohio somewhere, and they arrived at the Woodford Reserve Distillery the same time Lori and I were there. We were communicating, so we kind of knew that it was possible to happen. So that was kind of cool. Got to meet his wife and introduce Lori to them. But yeah, that was good. I would recommend that Central Kentucky tour to anybody. And Steve's talking about the stables and everything. Of course, we were there just a week before the Kentucky Derby over in Louisville. We didn't go. Steve and Kathy went over there to Churchill Downs on their drive back home to Nebraska. But going out to these distilleries, you're going past all of these pastures and horse stables and practice tracks and all of that stuff. It was just, it was beautiful, especially the Woodford Reserve, the way the Woodford Reserve is out. You have to pass through all these stately farms and horse farms and stables and stuff to get there. But it was awesome. All right. Well, let's see. I don't see the errands in here tonight, but I had a note from some number of weeks ago that remember Matt was activated to go up north to help with some ice storms, and I assume it's been quite some time now. I assume he's back home, but looking for a little report from Matt on that experience. Maybe we'll pin him down to share with us. And let's see, what about the Braves? Oh my goodness, I have the Braves game on. I have to shut it off here, but they're beating the Dodgers right now. But thank goodness, because they were about to sweep us. But Braves have recovered a little bit. They're at before today's game, they're at 14-18, so it looks like they're going to be about 15-18. But there are worse teams in the league, trust me. But it's a long season, So, all right. Well, hat of the week, hat of the week, hat of the week, hat of the week. I'm a hat guy. Always has something to do with what's going on around here in some way. And because we visited the Woodford Reserve Distillery, and because they are the major sponsor of the Kentucky Derby, I'm wearing my brand new Woodford Reserve ball cap. Very simple, very reserved, pun intended. So that is the hat of the week. Okay, Brenda, thank you for that. All right. Well, let's see. I've been out in the yard working. Lori don't even know this. Lori, I don't think she knows. I made a little trip to the Lowe's today. She'd asked me this morning about we're going to get some shrubbery and some flowers and bushes and stuff in this area in front of the thing. And we're still going to do that. Just not yet. We want to go together, pick the right stuff, and then figure out how to arrange it all. But in the meantime, I went to Lowe's and picked up 20 bales of pine straw because my tree out front is bare around the roots and everything. So got that all fixed up, and then put some pine straw back underneath the rose bushes and in that area in the front, and we'll just plant in there whenever we pick that stuff up. But I was out there. The weather was beautiful, 65 degrees and sunny. So it was a good day for yard work, but I'm a little bit tuckered. But it was good. I didn't get a walk in because I got 5,000 steps out in the yard. So anyway, and then so that's been the majority of the day around here at the McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. All right, so I didn't pull any military history items. That's what I was headed toward. Although this is the month of Memorial Day, obviously, and there'll be a lot of activities in the run-up to Memorial Day, including some that I have going on at work. But it's also National Month, Military Appreciation Month, I think they call it, Military Appreciation Month. So I know there's lots of military appreciation kind of activities going on around the country. I don't know why they decided to do that during Memorial Day. Memorial Day is, to me, it's more of a solemn, acknowledging sacrifice sort of thing. Anyway, so and Memorial Day comes a little bit early this year, I believe. No, yeah, a little bit. It's 26. So 26th of May, Monday the 26th. Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, let's see. The other thing I forgot to mention is after the last edition of Speaking of Zane, I headed off to Texas for a day. Very quick trip. I flew into Dallas Love Field, and then drove about an hour and a half to, I forget the name of the town it's in, but the name of the university is Tarleton State University. Tarleton State University. It has a history. It's one of, I think, 11 schools that are in the Texas A&M University system. Anyway, I had a unique opportunity to go there with some of my colleagues and deliver to these educators, teach them how to use artificial intelligence, some of the AI assistant tools in the classroom. So that was kind of fun. It was a quick trip. We got there. 4 of us went. Me from Atlanta, one of my guys from Phoenix, and then a couple others from St. Louis. But it didn't take all 4 of us, but I'm trying to show the others what they need to do because we're going to do many more of these in the country, across the country. Anyway, but it was a quick trip. We got there on the Monday evening, I think. We all met there and then drove. And then we did the 2 workshops on the Tuesday, and we all flew home Tuesday night. So it was a very quick trip. But it was a lot of fun. We got some of those coming up over the coming months. I need to get an update on where I'm going to fit them in, but so that was fun. And on to a couple of our challenges that have been staples of Speaking of Zane for quite some time now. And that's we always share these with each other, and then we track them and talk about them on Speaking of Zane. And the first is the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. You all have been visiting veteran cemeteries along with us for years now, and you report those and tell us about your visits. And since we last, I'm going to count the ones since we last met and do my best. I know Daryl, it's been 2 weeks, so I know Daryl has at least made 2 visits to Jefferson Barracks. And Daryl, are you going out there for Memorial Day? I don't know what, I think it's here at Georgia National, the placing the flags is on Saturday the 24th, I believe. I'm not sure about Jefferson Barracks. And let's see, my dad and my sis, I always count their visits because where my mom is buried. And of course, I have uncles there as well. So I always count them for 2 a week. Sometimes they do more. So I'm going to count them for 4 each since we last met. And then Aunt Paula, who sometimes joins us here, made a visit to Alabama National Cemetery where her husband, Mike, is buried. And then here are the good ones. Well, they're all good. I mean, here the count goes up because Lori and I made some visits, as did Amy. And Steve, you'll have to chime in and tell me if you hit any cemeteries on your way there or on the way back from Dayton. I don't recall, but I do know that Lori and I'll tell you the ones. So Lori had Georgia National Cemetery twice since we were last together. And then Lori and I both, I'm counting these, Lori and I both had some visits in Kentucky. We visited Frankfort Cemetery, which, by the way, is where Daniel Boone is buried. We visited Camp Nelson National. We visited Danville National. And we visited Kentucky Veteran Cemetery North. And Steve, I think that's one you did, right? Kentucky Veteran Cemetery North. So Lori and I hit all of those. Amy and her sister Barb also hit Kentucky Veteran Cemetery North. And on their way to West Virginia, they hit Kentucky Veteran Cemetery Northeast. And they hit Danville National. So Amy and Barb got two of the same ones that we did. And Steve, do you remember which ones that you did? Sometimes I lose track, but we'll wait for Steve there. So if I add up all of those visits, pending Steve, if I add all those visits, it was 24 visits since we last met. 24, that's a lot. And 5 of those were new ones, which reminds me that I need to update the map that I used to keep, but I've done a terrible job of upkeeping the map. But now that we're getting so many new ones, I feel obligated. All right, there you go, Steve. That's right, Lexington. Yeah, you hit Lexington. Lori and I didn't get to Lexington. So let's see, Steve. Cavehill, that's right. Yeah, I remember seeing that now. Thank you, Steve. So if I add 2 more, those are 2 that we've not had. I'm going to add those 2, that'll be 26. Let's get just to a nice round. Huh. I don't know what to tell you, babe. I think I see everyone's comments, but in the tool, I'm not looking on Facebook. Maybe someone else can comment, Lori, if they're not seeing the chat like that. But if I add all that up, Steve, thank you. 7 new ones, 26 total, and that takes us to a grand total since we started tracking this. Yeah, there we go. 1,490 visits. 1,490 visits to 200 and it should be 210 different cemeteries. Wow, incredible. Thank you all for doing that with us. And here's another big number. This may be our biggest number of the week, for the Thank a Vet Challenge, or the Veteran Interaction Challenge, whatever you want to call it, because that doesn't always have to be a thank you. It can just be a conversation there. But let me tell you what I think I know, and these will not be exact numbers this week, and I'll tell you the reason why. But if I look at Lori as an example, Lori, while at the Air Force Museum, Lori actually thanked 2 Air Force generals who were there for some sort of activity. How about that? That doesn't happen every day. Also an Air Force colonel, 2 other active duty airmen, a retired master sergeant, and 2 Air Force vets. So she was on her game there. And I'm going to give her a total of 20, because I know I'm going to count the veteran interactions that we had at the reunion as well. Now, I didn't talk to every single person and didn't have a conversation with every single person, so I'm not going to say 60, but I'm going to say 20. I'm going to give myself 20, Lori 20, Steve and Kathy 20. It's probably 20 plus. And let's see here. Amy, the same. And Ken came in. Ken and Janet, regulars on Speaking of Zane, are on a transatlantic cruise. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that they sailed out of New York City. He just posted. Yeah, Lori, thank you for that. I was looking to see if I had Randy listed there, so I need to add. But Ken just posted some pictures. They left New York last Sunday. He's reporting in this Sunday. They made it across the Atlantic, and they've already visited Iceland, I believe. And on the cruise, he's reporting a total of 31 veteran interactions. How about that? 31. So quite a number there. And if I just give Randy 20, like I'm giving the rest of us, although it's probably more because him and Kathy were coordinating, but that'll give us probably the biggest. Well, this is a couple of weeks worth of activity. Most of it's within 1 week, but that was, if I add, what was it? Was 119. I'm adding Steve's 20, or Randy's 20, which would make it 39. So big number on the Thank a Vet challenge of 139 for the week. And that takes our total up significantly to 3,565. 3,565. And we're halfway, not even halfway through the year yet. So it looks like we're doing pretty good in pursuit of 4,000. So I am Randy. I'm wearing my reunion suit. So far, since we've been back, I've worn my reunion short sleeve, my reunion long sleeve, and my reunion sweatshirt because we had a couple of cool mornings. But I'm guessing the sweatshirt's probably going to be put away for a little while now since it's starting to warm up. Great job on those, by the way, Randy. This I'll turn around and see. See the back there. Well, they did a fantastic job, and appreciate the 10th acts, including the 513th AMS on there. So good stuff. Okay, well, let's see. Really nothing new to report in the organization section, except that this is the month of Memorial Day, so it also means it's the month that an organization springs into action called Carry the Load. Carry the Load. Some of you have seen them, but they do like 5 different routes across the country, and they culminate Memorial Day weekend. They culminate in Dallas, where they have a big ceremony. But it's called Carry the Load. Go look it up. It's too hard to explain. Take me too long to explain it, but just look Carry the Load, and you'll see what they're all about. And we've had the opportunity to interact with them here in Georgia a couple of times as they're passing through the cemetery. So kind of fun there. Oh, vet ticks. Yeah, I meant to mention Lori got us a couple of Braves ball game tickets through Vet Ticks. Anybody here used Vet Ticks before? I know that our friend Linda and her husband, they use Vet Ticks like crazy up there in Omaha. But I have done before for a concert, I think. But Lori saw these baseball tickets. So she got a couple of baseball tickets for us to a Braves game. So that'll be fun. Vet Ticks. And then Running to Honor will be coming up before we know it, July. So if you haven't joined the team and you want to be part of the team, you can go to Running to Honor. Just search Running to Honor. And then you could even join the Speaking of Zane team there. So it'll be a lot of fun. All right. Well, I think that's it for this evening, gang. A little bit tuckered out from the yard works. I think I'm going to go put the roast away. I did a roast in the crock pot today, as I often do on Sundays. I'm going to go put the roast away and get things ready for work tomorrow. But great to see you all at the 10th Acts reunion that were there. Thanks again, Randy and Kathy. And always appreciate all of you guys joining here on Sunday evenings. I've talked about how this is therapeutic for me. Lori has someone that she talks with that she treasures. I don't, from a therapy perspective, but this really has turned into therapy for me. So I appreciate you guys being my therapist and joining here most Sunday evenings. And we'll look forward to doing it again next Sunday. I can't think of any reason why we wouldn't do it next Sunday. I'm home for a few weeks, which will be nice, and then the travel picks up again the end of May and through the months of June and July. But great to have you all here with us tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next weekend for another edition of Speaking of Zane. Be good, everybody.
you.